What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I'm your host. I'm Caitlin Kenneth Smith, and it's been a while since I've recorded a solo episode, but we're going to do a little bit of an update with life, and of course, with every update of my life that I give you, I always give you some sort of value because I learn a lot of lessons along the way, and that's how I kind of look at life. Is we have all of these different experiences that we go through, some good, some bad, but all of them come with lessons, or all of them come with something to take away. And I think that's the beauty of life, is that regardless of what we're going through, whether it be a really difficult time or a really happy time or a really prosperous time, there's always something to take away. Now, the last time I did a solo episode, it was when I was talking about my trip to New York and laying my cousin down after she lost her fight to cancer, as well as going from that at the beginning of the week to at the end of the week, celebrating my brother and his now wife, their wedding. So right now, actually, they're on their honeymoon in Italy, and I coach both of them. So one of my biggest things that I'm actually telling them to do is just enjoy themselves for a couple reasons. One, they're only there for 2 weeks. So that's 2 weeks of their life that they're going to look back and they're not going to be worried about, did I hit my protein goal? Did I hit my workouts? Did I hit my steps? They're going to be concerned with what incredible memories or what incredible experiences that I get from this trip. So they're enjoying every moment of it. And the reality is, if you go to Italy, the portions are smaller, the food is much higher quality, and they're walking a lot. So when they come back, they're both going to hit a little bit of a reverse diet to help build up their metabolism, build muscle so they can burn body fat and build lean muscle really is the biggest thing. And if you have never done a reverse diet, I highly recommend you do it. But we'll get into that a little bit later because I do have more on that topic. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, since I believe most people who get into health and fitness, they get into it with this restrictive mindset where they think they need to drop their calories as low as possible and do as much activity or cardio as possible, or just activity, period. They think they need to work out as many days as possible or go to the gym and push themselves until they feel like they can't even walk anymore. When the reality is, you need to do what is sustainable. And if you're throwing gasoline on top of a fire, which is what you're doing when you do so much activity and so much workouts and then go into a calorie deficit that is so extreme, your body's not going to respond and you're not going to be able to sustain it and you're going to crash and burn. So I've done a lot of podcasts on that topic and I want to do another episode on that topic. In fact, I am having somebody on next week he's been a bodybuilding prep coach for a very long time. He's in the space himself. He is a pro. And we're going to talk all about kind of different avenues on how to build muscle, build the metabolism, and things that can help you if you're really looking to transform your body and transform your life. And that's just a little bit of a rant because that's kind of what this podcast episode is going to be about. I have a lot to say, but it's going to be kind of all over the place, and I hope that you're okay with that. And I think that you are okay with that because you're here and you're listening, and I appreciate you. Now, the last couple weeks have been a couple wild weeks. I actually took my yearly break from the podcast, which I do kind of sporadically, but I do it once a year, where I take usually 2 weeks off. And that's really to reset my mind and kind of allow myself to get more ideas when it comes to things that I want to talk about on the podcast and let my life experience give me some lessons to talk about. But also just to be able to take a step back and not focus on creating this type of content, and really just focus on living my life. And it's nice sometimes, but I love to podcast, so I'm really happy to be back here. And I can't wait for the next couple weeks because, to be honest, I have a few incredible guests lined up. But let's get into where I'm currently at, or what's currently going on. What's happened over the last 2 weeks since I've spoken to you guys last, since I last posted a solo episode. So 2 weeks ago, well, actually, about a week ago, time flies when you're having fun, I competed in my first individual CrossFit competition at Pensacola Beach Brawl in the intermediate female division. This was something that I signed up for almost 6 months ago because I knew that if I waited to sign up for it, I would talk myself out of it. I need to kind of sign up for something when I'm in that motivated state to be like, I want to do this. I'm going to sign up for it. Because I know personally, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, is if I say, okay, I will sign up for it, I'll do it like when we get closer. I'm going to talk myself out of it because I'm going to get afraid. And that's exactly what would have happened because it took everything in me to not drop out of this competition. One of the biggest things that kept me in the competition was that I paid $150 to sign up for it, and I'm not going to just drop $150 and just let it go to waste, although I did think about it. Now, the reason I thought about this was a couple of reasons. One, this is my first intermediate competition. Usually I compete scaled, but I knew that I am not a scaled athlete anymore. And I could have competed in scaled, and I would have easily probably won scaled, but I would rather get dead last in intermediate than to get first place in scaled, knowing that I didn't push myself enough. And I think that's what competing is all about, getting yourself outside of your comfort zone. And if you're constantly putting yourself in a division where you know you can kind of dominate, but you're afraid to move up to the next division because you're afraid you're going to fail, that's a sign that you need to move up into the next division. And that's exactly what I took that as. I looked at the standards and I was like, I can do all of these, not efficiently, but I could do all of these. So I'm going to sign up because I have time to be able to perfect my craft. Now, I did get exponentially more fit over the last 6 months because over the last 6 months, 8 months, I've really dove into dedicating my life to properly fueling my body, recovering properly, and doing 2 training sessions most days. So I've been able to get more out of the volume that I'm doing since I'm spacing them out. It's not that I'm doing more volume, although I am doing like more skill work, more strength work, things that build that base that I need. But the biggest thing is that I'm able to recover better between sessions because I'm spacing them out and fueling between, so that way I'm getting more bang for my buck with the volume that I'm doing. Now, there's a lot of research showing that for performance-based athletes, it is really beneficial to do multiple sessions a day, even if you're doing the same amount of volume. It's not necessarily about how can I get more volume into my day. It's how can I get more effective volume into my day, because it's not about doing more. It's about doing better with what you have. Now, I almost dropped out of this competition because there was one event that I was so worried about, and it was 3 rounds for time, 12-calorie echo bike, 25-foot dual dumbbell walking lunges with 35 pounds, 2 rope climbs, 25-foot dual dumbbell walking lunges, and then you repeat, right? You repeat it 3 rounds. I was so worried because I'd never done a rope climb. And it was a 15-foot rope climb, standard. That's the standard in CrossFit. So I was looking at this as something that I could not do, as something that was impossible. I literally said to myself, this is impossible. I will not be able to do it. And deep down inside, I did believe that. And I would have moments where I would get almost very motivated with myself and have a lot of confidence in myself. We all have highs and lows in confidence. We've all been there, where I'm sitting there and I'm watching videos on a rope climb and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be able to do this. I am going to do this. And then it would die down and I'd get back into that self-doubt state. So 1 week away from the competition, I finally practiced rope climbs for the first time ever. I know. I procrastinated so much. And if I went back in time, I wouldn't have procrastinated as much. But the reason why I procrastinated was because I was so afraid. I was so afraid that I would humiliate myself, that I would fail. And then I remembered something that I learned over the last year and a half, and something that I tell my clients every single day, and something that me and my coach talk about a lot, is that you cannot fear failure. Because when you fear failure, you fear success. Failure is necessary in any journey. If you don't fail, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. And now we aren't able to do rope climbs at home. So that was also another thing. It was like another obstacle mentally that I had to battle with is, it's not easy. It's not convenient to do. So, it makes it harder for me to ramp myself up to be able to actually go and practice these things. But luckily, my husband is a Green Beret, and I was able to use his skill set of rope climbing, because that's just something that they do in the military. They rope climb. It's a perk of being in the military, we'll call it. And so he took me on a base a week out, and we started practicing rope climbs. And we practiced it that Saturday. We went back that Sunday. We went back that Thursday. And that Wednesday. So that Wednesday and Thursday. So I practiced rope climbs 4 days before my competition. I took Friday off because I didn't want to mess up my forearms, because on Thursday I kind of messed them up quite a bit practicing. And I knew that the competition was going to be Saturday. I didn't want to go in there with fatigued forearms. So I knew that I could do it, because when we were practicing it, I was starting to get it. I was starting to get the footwork, and even I was starting to fail them a little bit, but then be able to kind of regain them. So that way I didn't have to drop off. So I was able to almost like fix it and save myself. So I knew that I could get up there. Now, the only issue was that the rope at base was like 20 or 25 feet. So we weren't really able to know exactly how high 15 feet was, other than just kind of guesstimating it. And I knew that the rope was probably going to be different at beach brawl, but that's okay, because I practiced it and I had more confidence going into it. I was terrified for the event, but luckily the Echo bike is my best machine, best movement in CrossFit. I can crush an Echo bike because I do so many terrible workouts with the Echo bike. Shout out to my coach Eric for making me an elite athlete on the Echo bike. So that is like an irrelevant thing. I can push very hard on that bike and be able to recover very well. And lunges, I do them all the time. So I wasn't concerned about the lunges. I wasn't concerned about the Echo. I was concerned about the rope climbs. And my one goal going into the workout was, I want to finish this workout. And one thing that I did that entire week leading up to it, I visualized being in the workout, doing the rope climbs, finishing before the time, and being proud of myself. Not just because I did it, but because I faced my fear and did it. And when I got the workout schedule for me, because obviously there are so many different heats, since there was like 1,600 people competing out of all of the divisions. So there are multiple heats, and not everybody's going to go at once, because there are just 4 workouts, and there are 4 spots where they do the workouts. So I was in the final heat for everything, and the rope climb workout for me was last. So at 5 p.m., I would be hitting that rope climb workout, and my first workout was 9:45 in the morning. So it was 9:45. I think my second one was at around noon or 12:30, and then my third one was at like 2:30, and then my final one was at 5. So I had to make sure that I was continuing to fuel myself throughout the day, which I nailed fueling. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, the past 2 years that I've competed in a team competition, first year, I sucked at fueling. Second year, I got a little bit better, but I was still off. This year with competing, I feel like I've really gotten fueling down because I'm very robotic about it. For example, I had my normal breakfast. Then we did the workout at 9:45. As soon as I finished that workout, I had my post-workout shake with carbs and protein, and a Go Bar by BPN, which has 36 grams of carbs to help replenish. And then I had my workout about an hour and a half to 2 hours later. I had a meal, which was chicken, rice, and pineapple, because I know that those things work for me. Very smaller portions of protein, more carbs in there. And then I was sipping on carbs before I got into the lift, which was the next event at 2:30, because I had a little bit more time between that event and the second event. And then again, I had the protein shake with the carbs and the Go Bar before this final event. Now, leading up into the final event, my one goal for this competition was to show up and to beat myself, was to make myself proud, whatever that looked like. So after the first event, I knew very well that I was not going to podium. I was not going to be in the top 5. I wasn't going to win. And that's okay, because I was just focused on winning for me. This was my first competition. This was my first time getting my feet out there as an individual in this division. And I knew damn well that I was still smaller, weighed a lot less, and was less strong, more enduring than the other athletes. And a lot of these events were catered towards stronger people. And that's just how it is. The first event, I had a lot of nerves in me. My grip blew up a little bit. I still finished very well. I have very high expectations and high standards that I set for myself. Am I proud after this competition? Absolutely. Because I showed up and I gave my best, and I can't deny that. The second event, I felt really good going into it. I crushed my double unders, crushed my snatches, crushed my wall walks, and then my grip strength wasn't enough to be able to allow me to do efficient toes to bar and pull-ups, which is what I needed in that event, which sucks because I know that I can do them very well in training. And before the event, I warmed up and they felt phenomenal. But I told myself, this is just an area for growth, right? Originally, I was like, oh man, the bar was really slippery. But the reality is every other competitor used the same bars. So there was something else. And my coach said there's no such thing as slippery bars. There's such thing as weak grip. So when your grip weakens or when it gets blown up, the bar appears slippery because you can't hold on. And that's kind of what happened. But again, proud of myself for my effort. Third event was a lift. I knew that I was going to get dead last in that one. And guess what? I did dead last. But I did hit a PR. So I just need to work on my strength. That's really what it comes down to. I'm a very enduring athlete. I'm a great endurance athlete. I just need to get stronger. And it's kind of already something I knew. So that's exactly what we're focusing on. But this final event, I went into this event. I practiced a couple rope climbs in the warm-up area. And I didn't feel great about the rope. I didn't feel great about how the rope climbs felt. I didn't do full ones. I just did a couple like pulls because, again, I didn't want to fatigue myself. And Stone said to me, these are great ropes. Don't let them, because there were other girls around me who were like, these ropes suck. And I was like, oh no, they do. But they weren't. They didn't suck. They were great ropes, actually. And Stone was like, don't let them get in your head. These are great ropes. They're much better than the rope that we were working on. And shout out to him for being there literally the whole day, getting me whatever I needed, carrying my bag, being my hype man, and pushing me, but also supporting me. So we went into this workout. He went to the other side of the fence where the rope climb was, because it was like you have the echo bike, and then obviously you lunge across the floor to where the rope climb is, and then you lunge back to the echo bike. And I was like, I will not need you on the echo bike. I'll need you over there by the rope climb, because that's where I'm going to need you in my ear. And I felt so good and so in control during that workout. Like, I almost get teared up talking about it and thinking about it, because it was probably one of the best moments of my life, which sounds crazy, but when you're chasing something that is so important to you and you have a moment that feels just so dialed in, nothing beats that. And I felt so in control in the echo bike, first girl off the echo, lunged across the floor, felt very in control with the lunges. I used the lunges as my break because I knew, obviously you're moving, it's not a break, but I made sure that I didn't rush them because, one, a no rep on lunges that are in 5 feet increments, if you get a no rep, you get sent back. And I don't want to risk time to get sent back. So I made sure I did every rep perfectly. I wasn't going slow, but I was going efficiently. I got to the rope climbs and I made sure that I didn't rush them because every rep needed to count. Because a no rep on a rope climb, say you get halfway up the rep and then something happens, that's very fatiguing for a no rep. Same thing with like wall walks or handstand walks. You exert a lot of energy for nothing, and then you have to go back and do it again. So I did 2. I lunged back. After I finished those 2, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I wasn't looking at the time. I wasn't concerned. There was a 12-minute time cap for the workout. And I remember my goal is to just finish this workout within the time cap. Originally, honestly, when I was going into the workout, at the time of going into it, I was like, well, if I can get 2 rope climbs, I think I'd be happy. Once I got those 2, I needed to finish this. And still, I didn't fully believe that I could, but I knew that I wasn't going to back down. And there was a moment in the workout where I was at the top of the rope and I hit the bar, which is how you get a rep. And I was coming down and I thought to myself, this doesn't feel real because I feel so dialed. Like nothing else mattered. It was me, the rope, Stone just talking to me, my judge just standing there. I wasn't even paying attention to my judge. She could have fucking no-repped me and I wouldn't even know probably. And I just felt so good. I felt terrible in the sense where this is hard. These rope climbs are tiring, and I'm tired from this long day, and it's hot as hell. But those things didn't matter. It was almost like I couldn't feel pain until the workout ended, and then I felt a lot of pain. I went up to get to my last 2 rope climbs, and I remember hearing 2 minutes left, 90 seconds left. And I said, okay, I can do this. I just need to do it now. But I was very aware that I had time. Like, I know that climbing up the rope takes maybe like 15 seconds and then another 5 to come down. So if I time it well, I can do this. Because I know the lunges, the 25-foot dumbbell lunges, I can do those very fast if I need to. So I went up for the first one, got it, and then I had 60 seconds left. I took a little bit of a break to chalk up and to make sure that this rep would be worth it. Because if I got a no rep here, I wouldn't have finished. And it was just like, I'm not going to risk that now. I messed up a little bit on the second rope climb there, and I had to come down, and I just like took a deep breath, and all I heard was Stone say, relax, you can do this. And I said, you know what, I can do this. I've already done 5. I can do another one. So I got up there, I did it, I came down, and I knew that I didn't have a lot of time. So I came down pretty fast, and I definitely burned my hands a little bit, but then I heard them say 30 seconds, and I was like, oh no, I need to grab these dumbbells, stop feeling sorry for yourself, go. So I grabbed the dumbbells, I finished the workout with 5 seconds left, and I definitely cried. Thank God I had sunglasses on. I just got like really emotional and teared up because I finished it. I did these rope climbs, but it wasn't even about the rope climbs, or it wasn't even about finishing the workout. It was the fact that I faced my fears, the fears that almost kept me out of this competition, in order to get this moment. And nothing will beat that moment of me signing for my score and then telling the judge thank you as I like tried not to cry, walking off the floor, and then having Stone literally run up to me and just hug me and say, I'm so proud of you. That moment lives like rent-free. That moment lives rent-free in my head forever. And that moment was so special to me because there's something incredible about Stone and I's relationship. And I talk about this to people sometimes, but I don't talk about it enough because we're pretty private people. I mean, we kind of have to be because of Stone's profession, and he's just a private dude anyway. But that man is my best friend. Not only is he my best friend, but he's my biggest supporter. And not only is he my biggest supporter, but he's also the person who will push me the hardest. If I'm being a little bitch, he will call me out. If I'm making excuses, he will call me out because he knows what I want out of life. If I'm doing harm to myself because I'm restricting myself from fueling because I'm overthinking things, he'll call me out. And he'll make sure that I eat. He'll make sure that I do the things that I need to do in order to be the best that I can be. And he pushed me so hard to be able to do those rope climbs. And I'm so glad that he did. And I miss him so much because he's not here right now. And that's the second thing that happened. Is last week, this competition happened on Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he deployed for 4 months. And it was supposed to be 6 months, so I'm glad it's not, but it's still 4 months. And this is the longest deployment that he's ever done. And I miss him. And it's less about him not being here and more about him being somewhere outside of America where I'm not very confident with the safety, we'll say. And I am scared. I'm scared for a lot of different reasons. One, I hate being alone. I tend to get into my head when I get alone, and when I get into my head, sometimes that can cause me to go down a dark path. And that's scary. I hate being alone because I'm afraid something will happen, because this world is a terrible place sometimes. There's a lot of scary stuff that goes on, and that's the reality. I luckily have 2 dogs, and I don't know what I would do without them. But me being completely honest and transparent, like last night, I woke up multiple times because I was scared. I was just scared because it was night and it was dark, and you hear noises, and it's just scary. It's not having your person there, the person who you feel so safe with. I didn't expect to get this vulnerable, but honestly, this is what this podcast is all about. It's about me being able to talk and share my thoughts and be able to hopefully help somebody else out there to realize that they're not alone. It's okay to not be okay. And that's what I want you to understand, is that you shouldn't let fear hold you back. That's the main topic of this podcast episode. But it's also okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. And that's where most people get lost, is that they stay there. They feel sorry for themselves, and they continue to bury themselves into a deeper hole. What I've learned is that nothing good comes from that. You only waste time doing that. And if I've learned anything over the last year, it's that time is very precious. And life is very precious. And over the last month or so, I've really started to get back into a deeper relationship with the Lord. And I feel like that's helping me more than ever with this deployment. We're like 5 days in here, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm not scared anymore for what life can throw at me, because I know that God would not put anything in my path that I could not handle, even if in the moment I think that I cannot handle it. Because I have an undefeated track record of being able to handle everything that God puts in my path. Because I'm here. I've survived. Have I failed? Yeah, everybody fails. Again, that's part of life because you learn and you grow from it. But I'm also confident that whatever happens in life, whether something terrible happens and my life ends early, or somebody I love, their life ends early, I'm not afraid, because I know that I'm never alone, because I have God. And I also know that when I'm done in this life, I get to go to paradise. And my biggest thing that I want to do while I'm here on this earth is to be able to impact people to become the best version of themselves. I don't care how much money I make. I don't care how many things I have. I don't care what people think of me. I care about how somebody experiences me. I care about the impact that I leave on somebody's life. I want to make somebody's day better. I want to make my clients succeed. I want to, with my social media content, with my podcast content, I want to add a little bit of joy to your day. That's really what it comes down to. Some people take life way too seriously in the fact where they allow so many little things to destroy them and take away from the precious time that they have with the people that they love. So I really say all of this to you guys today just to let you know that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share those things because we're all human. And for a while, I tried to not be human in the sense where I didn't want people to think that I was weak. But having emotions and being human doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It actually makes you strong. Because you're able to continue to be the person that you want to be, regardless of what's life throwing at you. So all of these things are going on, all of these emotions I'm having, all of these fears, all of these doubts. Stone's not here. I'm alone. I'm scared. But I'm still pursuing my goals every single day. I'm still posting the content that I want to post because I've never been happier creating. Never been happier creating content. I love being able to post about different brands and give different supplement and sports nutrition news and post about my journey to becoming a competitive CrossFit athlete. And the journey to becoming a competitive CrossFit athlete is such a beautiful thing. It's so hard and it's so challenging. It's the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And the sessions are brutal, but the eating is brutal too, because it's such a mind fuck for me. Coming from my eating disorder background, I know as a coach and as somebody who's been in the space for over 12 years, I know damn well what I need to do, but those demons get you sometimes. But I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm becoming better every single day. And I hope that you guys can see that in my content, can see that in this podcast, and can even see that in yourselves. The best thing that you can do is look back to yourself a year ago and celebrate the person who you've become today and celebrate all the progress that you've made. And if you feel like you're the same version of yourself that you were a year ago, then maybe it's time to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what's holding you back? Why aren't you pursuing the things that you want? Why aren't you growing? Is it because you're afraid? Is it because you're afraid of what other people are going to think? Because life's too damn short to worry about those things. And at the end of the day, it's literally just you, yourself. You and the person looking back at you in the mirror. Who cares about what that person might think, who you might never see again, or you might never actually see in person, because a lot of the times we get people on social media who just talk shit at us. And usually the people who have the most shit to say have the most shit. So that's just something for context. The biggest thing I wanted to bring to you guys today with this episode was give you a little bit of a life update, tell a couple stories, but more than anything, give you a couple lessons. And the lessons that I want you to take away from today are, don't let fear stop you, because literally everything that you want is on the other side of your fears. And if something scares you, it probably means that it's exactly where you need to be. Think about what is the worst that could happen and what is the best that could happen. A lot of us want to gravitate towards the negative stuff. Prepare yourself for that, because it could happen. But the reality is that it usually doesn't. Usually it's somewhere in the middle between the best and the worst. But what if the best happened, but because you were so afraid, you didn't take the risk and you never got to experience that? Go for it. What do you have to lose? What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? And then overcome that fear and do it. And the second lesson is that it's okay to not be okay. You're human. Having weakness doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong, because you're still pushing through. In order to get a better squat, you have to start with squatting the bar. And then you add weight, you add weight, you add weight, because you can handle more. And that's exactly what that is. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. So make sure that you're being honest with yourself, because you deserve more out of life. Now go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.